Alright, I want to address something before we get started here proper. So, in the last video I encountered the first of my route choices, which as we all know is a pretty common trope for visual novels and AVGs and what have you. And I got a little bit of comment on that there has to be choices, there has to be interactivity, at least to some degree, because if you don't have that, then you can't engage the visual novel trope of routes, basically like, choosing which heroine's story you want to engage most fully. So, I've got to say that I find it kind of a debatable and arguable idea whether the concept of routes is even workable or permissible in what's supposed to be like a non-interactive linear storytelling format, blah blah blah. Let's just put that aside. I mean, I've got my objections about that, and I've got my objections about saying that we should have 10 passable stories versus one very good story, but whatever, let's just put that aside. Let's not just say that's not even an issue. So even if we're going to accept that interaction, letting me choose which tale I'm going to explore, basically like one of those old choose your own adventure novels from the 70s or other bullshit like that, even if we say that that's okay, you'd have to admit that, like any other literary device, would have to be executed properly. It would have to be done, quote unquote, well. Now, what we saw before, when that guy was just asking, hey, do you want to introduce yourself to these students? I was told after the fact that is supposedly something that helps me determine which of the heroines I'm supposed to be, getting it on with later on. How was I supposed to know that? There was absolutely nothing intuitive about this. Oh, do you want to introduce yourself to the students or not? I don't know any of the heroines yet. I don't know any of the characters, basically. I don't see how this is supposed to be indicative of anything. That's really just random bullshit. There's no intuition about that whatsoever. There's no way I could know, short of going online and looking up like a route diagram or a walkthrough or what have you. And I find that unacceptable. I mean, if you're going to shoehorn that kind of interaction into a visual novel in the first place, at least make it intuitive. It really preferably make it obvious. Like, say, for instance, if I have the choice of going out on a date with one girl versus spending that evening studying with another, it should be obvious like that. If you're going to shoehorn that kind of interaction into a storytelling format, it shouldn't be unclear what the hell it is I'm doing. So some people have asked me, hey UD, are you planning on using a walkthrough or using a route guide or something so you get the heroine that you want? And I'm like, no, that completely defeats the purpose of what it is that I'm here to determine. I'm not doing that. I will say that if I were forced to choose among the heroines, I would pretty obviously choose the hot, blind, blonde girl. I think her name is Lily. Because, yeah, that sounds good. Now, I know the obvious thing is to go, Hanako, burn scars are so hot. Well, fuck off, I don't care. I'm going for the hot, blonde, blind girl, but I'm only going to choose the route choices that would obviously point me to her. Otherwise, I'm just going to choose what I would do in that situation, because if that doesn't get me what I want, then that's a failure of the format. So anyway, enough bitching, let's move on. It's nice to meet you. She's an A ... She's a deaf girl, so she doesn't speak. She immediately looks at Misha, who smiles and makes a few quick gestures with her hands. Click, 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 click. Hakamichi nods and makes a few gestures of her own. I start to wonder if the teacher was messing with me, saying things like, you'll be able to talk with people, and who better to explain things to you. So we have a troll teacher, how nice. I can see you're a little confused, right? But I understand why you think I was Shi-chan. Shi-chan is deaf, so I'm the person who translates things back and forth for her. I'm like an interpreter. She says it's nice to meet you. I've got a thing for petite girls, so between the two, the deaf girl here is definitely the cuter in my mind. You're the new student, aren't you? Well, Shi-chan, of course. Let's see. Well, Shi-chan, of course he is. If he wasn't, he would have been standing up there for no reason, right? He seems like a very interesting person, doesn't he? So, I'm getting about 2% bored here. I know they're just exchanging pleasantries at this point, but I do need that core story agenda development ASAP. We knew there was going to be a new student, but we didn't know who would be here today so soon. Right, Chi-chan, Hi-chan? Yep, it fits, doesn't it? Did I say it out loud? It's a surprise. I've never liked that name. Oh, she's calling me Hi-chan now. Hisao, that's awfully familiar, isn't it? I mean, I know this was made by Western writers, but it fits. You look just like I imagined. I suppose that just shows the forwardness of her character. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, you look just like a Hichan. I wonder why everyone seems to think so. She's an A ... Akamichi taps her fingers on the desk to get Misha's attention. They gesture back and forth to each other excitedly, their hands a blur. Misha seems a little overwhelmed. Sorry about that. Shichan wants to know wants you to know that she's the class rep, so if there's anything you need to know, you can feel free to ask her. I'm getting bored. Do you like the school so far? We can show you around a little if you haven't had the time to walk around and familiarize yourself with it. Why this? This is clunky, I don't get it. Oh, okay. Misha stumbles with the hard word a bit, making it stick out in her otherwise fluid translation. Thanks, I think that would be helpful. Yeah, just kind of came straight to class today. You know what would be really cool? Is to get close to a girl like this and to learn sign language just for her. That'd be nice. Ha ha ha. That's no good. You should always try to learn as much as you can about where you're going before you get there. Not just with school, either. Always, even if it's a trip to the convenience store. Really? Really? Yeah, okay. Ha ha ha. Learn about where you're going? I guess I didn't bother to do that, or I just didn't care enough to do so. I didn't look forward to this, even if I committed myself to go along with it half-assedly. But anyway. I don't say anything, but Misha signed something that ends in a shrug. What was that? Seems like it was about me. I feel like slumping over in my seat. Both of them are smiling, but that shrug hit me unexpectedly deeply. Okay. One of the traditional parts of old world literature and creative writing, storytelling training, tells you to cut adverbs wherever possible. I mean, adverbs are ruinous to rhetoric and story and like just the sing-songy flow of storytelling. Sometimes they're absolutely necessary and you can't get away from them, but typically it's like the sign of weak authorship to throw adverbs out there all over the place. Now, I will admit, so far the prose that I've seen written in this story is not unacceptably bad. You know, this is about mid-range for a novel, and certainly par for the course for a Japanese slice of life story. However, just as far as the slice of life thing goes, I know I'm on the record saying as before, slice of life is fine. You know, not everything has to be a super adventure, action, Hollywood blockbuster, summer flick, whatever, that's fine. But slice of life necessarily has to have cuteness, like good visual assets, and humor. It needs to be funny. The sad thing is that most visual novel writers seem to think that slice of life means that you don't have to talk about anything except for daily pleasantries. That's unacceptable. Now, so far, we've got some good visual assets. I'll admit they got some decent artists to work on this project. I don't really like Misha's character design all that much, but she's, you know, Sachin on the side here is pretty cute. Now, that's fine. But there's been absolutely nothing funny about this. So far, we've just been setting ourselves up for a drama tale. And drama requires pacing. This is my problem with visual novels, is they have no concept of pacing. They'll just let me flounder in uselessness forever. Sadly, this is starting to do that. You look down, are you okay? ... Don't take it the wrong way, please. I hate it when people are afraid to ask questions. That's how people learn things, by asking. Asking for help is perfectly normal, as much as needing help. Stop looking like you just failed a test. Wahahaha. Wahahaha. Alright. She's nay. And another thing, you don't have to call Shichan something so formal like Hakamichi or Icho. Incho? I think it's Incho. Yeah, all the time. Just call her Shichan. Yeah. To see, she's got the right idea of how this works. Okay, maybe that was too casual. Maybe Shizune-san. That'd be about where I'd be comfortable. Would be more appropriate. Yep, Shizune is fine. Hey, okay, that would be a lot easier for me. I feel more friendly. Being seemed like it'd be all business. Well, she seems like just that less, so I guess Shizune! Exclamation point. Ooh. Your mouth turned into the katakana for alright, we haven't even touched the assignment. We should start work now or Shichan will get mad. Yeah, I'm getting bored here. Okay. The assignment is also kind of long, so we should start out now if we want to finish it before the end of class. Wahaha, that too. Shizune glares at the two of us impatiently. I don't need to know sign language to understand that. You understand that you understand that you understand that. Okay, I get the message. ... After class, we could take a walk around the grounds together. It's a nice day. Okay, this is where the conversation should have ended about 3 minutes ago. They should have talked, exchanged pleasantries, skipped the pseudo-philosophical bullshit, and just went to this. This will be our next activity together. Let's move on. The assignment is actually very challenging to get through, combining aspects of, okay, random show, don't tell. That's kind of jarring. Still, we finished it a few minutes earlier than anyone else in the class. Despite her late start, she's not really capable. They're quite different, though. The class rep is calm and professional as she looks, while Misha is more playful and girlish, not to mention a little more easily distracted. To be honest, the two of them did most of the work. I feel guilty about that. Yep. Standard... What's the name for this chime pattern? You hear this not just in Japanese schools all the time, and like charter schools in the States and such. You hear this in grandfather clocks, too. I know there's a name for this chime, but I don't know what it is. Maybe somebody will comment, and I'll be enlightened. The clock tower bell rings, signaling the end of the period. Time for lunch. Wait, what? Oh, yeah, that was third period anyway, because he kind of got here late. Or was it third period? I don't know. Anyway, without knowing what else to do, I followed Misha, who was beckoning to the hall and down the stairs. We descended and moved to the bottom floor. Just like everything in the school, this cafeteria seems too spacious and oddly modern in contrast to the classic exterior. Its big windows open to the courtyard of the main gate. It's the cafeteria. Her enthusiastic statement of the obvious makes it obvious that makes the people around us stare, but Misha doesn't seem to care what to proceed to the line. There's a rather long list of menu options. I don't care about this. Don't tell me about this. Unacceptable boredom here. I'm getting really bored. How nice it almost feels as I'm back to the patience. I picked something at random following she's with. Okay, there needs to be something very important and meaningful going on in this lunchtime conversation here. As I nibble indifferently at the food I'd rather not eat, Misha pokes to the side of my attention to she's I don't understand signs, so the point escapes me. Maybe looking like a person who talks to you is proper and polite. Do you want to know something? What? About anything. We're your guides. You ask us if they're... Okay, this is a nice setup. This, we could get some decent exposition or a development of the core story agenda or something, but why do I think neither of those things is going to happen? Oh, God. Oh, shit, I clicked on something. Oh, I didn't mean to. Can I go back? I don't know what I clicked on. Does this do something? Is that what I clicked on, really? Ask about Shizune's deafness? I don't even know what the other choice was. I don't know if that's the more preferable of the two options. Fucking hell. Okay, it's not going to take me that long to return, so let me stop the recording and I'll get back to this choice. Be back in a second. Okay. So I think we've just discovered an interface problem here. So, I'm sure it's not atypical for visual novels to just have your mouse floating anywhere on the screen and you absent-mindedly clicking away on the mouse to advance the dialog box down below. What happens if one of these prompts comes up without warning and I just click, wherever my mouse happens to be at that time, and then I end up selecting an option that I didn't intend to select? That's an interface problem, especially considering there is no warning about these choices. That's another thing. I mean, there's one thing, despite all of my complaining about how, the format of video games and storytelling are inherently separate in a lot of ways. There's one thing that they have in common in that, at their best, video games and storytelling both practice great immersion. You're in the story, you're in the action, you're not thinking about the real world, you're just kind of, you're there, you're in it, you're in the groove, you're in the motion. And when these options come up out of nowhere, it's really immersion breaking, because I was reading story. Oh, they expect me to do something now. What? It's like if I had a book in my hands and like a hand reaches up out of the book and grabs my face and tries to yank me, face plant me in the pages of the book. It's really fucking jarring, and I really don't like this. But anyway, so here's my choices. Ask about the library, ask about Shizune's deafness. I think I got everything I need to know. This, I imagine, and this is me just speaking by my intuition, but guess what? I'm probably going to be wrong, because visual novels make no fucking sense. I imagine is a neutral choice and doesn't push me further towards any heroine's route. This, I can't tell. I don't know what this is supposed to do. This, I imagine, would either push me closer to or further away from Shizune here. Again, I can't tell. I don't know if this question is supposed to, offend her or make her happy with me or what. Maybe this makes her happy with me because she's a bookworm, and then this one offends her. I don't know. This is the problem I have with this convention, is I don't know what these things are supposed to do without a fucking walkthrough. And if I'm supposed to be using a walkthrough, then it's a game, it's not a story. And if it's a game, then it's a really fucking shitty game, because I'm spending here the whole time here just reading stuff and not killing things. Anyway, I don't know what to do. I really don't know what to do. You see, by trying to give me a choice, they've just locked me into indecision here because, I mean, I want to get closer to the blind girl, but I don't know what options are going to do that. And why should I have to use a walkthrough? This is so bad. Let's take the most innocuous route. I'll ask about the library. Really stupid small talk that nobody cares about. Oh yeah, there's a library in the school. Lately I've gotten into reading a lot, so I'd like to check it out. Misha gives a kind of frown that makes it clear she doesn't consider reading a healthy hobby. Well, you know what, fuck you, I don't like you very much anyway. Then picks up her smile again. There is, it's in the second floor, we can show it to you sometime, thanks. I return to my food while the girls talk between themselves. Misha and Chizune sign back and forth, very animatedly, throwing... See, this is another adverb. See how clumsy that is to say out loud? Animatedly. I mean, of course, when you're reading, most people are kind of pronouncing most of the words in their head as they read, and that stops you because, yeah, this is why I have like a holy crusade against most adverbs, because they're really clunky. Throwing sideways glances at me, but Misha refrains from translating. Maybe they're talking about secret girl stuff or something. No, sadly, most girl stuff is not secret. Boy, orgasms and periods and maxi pads and tampons. Ooh. I quickly notice conversation sign is not enough to fill the silence. Whatever. Or is enough. I didn't even read that sentence. I don't care. We arrive in the classroom early, but we're not the first. Ooh, here she is, burn scar girl. And it doesn't look like burn scars so much. It's like, wow, did that just like take out her eye? Or is that just covered by her bangs? Either way, that's pretty gruesome. A dark-haired girl I noticed before slumped over her desk in the corner. Ah! She jumps a little when Misha crashes into the room with the elegance of her rhino. When she shrinks deeper and deeper into her seat, I can feel her tension all the way from here, as if she were... Wait a second. Was the library getting me close to Hanako here? Fuck this! There was no way for me to know that. You see, what if I were just coming into this story here fresh, and I had no idea that there was such a thing as a walkthrough? The lack of intuition is incredibly frustrating. Misha and Chizune don't either notice or don't mind. They walk past to their seats and begin to converse. See, I remember Canon had some choices, but I simply just chose the ones that I found to be the most offensive there because I was so upset at how substanceless things were. And then, having a hard time remembering, but I think Umineko did not have any. At least not for the time that I saw. I could be misremembering that. People will correct me if I'm wrong. But, I mean, at least, if that's true, then at least Umineko was trying his hardest just to be a linear story, which I can kind of respect that. I'm left wondering about her, even when the classroom slowly fills with the other students and finally the teacher. Getting into the rhythm of the school feels strange. It's as if my brain remembers how this is done, but my body doesn't. Towards the end of class, I start yawning and counting the minutes left. I shouldn't be this tired on my first day of school. Maybe it's the long time spent in the hospital that made me feel like this, even if I'm feeling physically weak and lifeless. Before long, the final bell rings. School is over for the day. Beside me, it's a short conversation. After a bit of deliberation, Misha turns to me. Unfortunately, we can't stay and show you around today, Hichan. I've got to hurry already, since there's a lot of work left for us to do. ... You know, that doesn't need to happen. The ... I understand that she doesn't speak. That's fine. Maybe it could be like a plot device later on when the male protagonist learns sign language, and then we could simply just, translate that into dialogue down here. That's fine. But in the meantime, I don't need that ... I don't. I know she doesn't talk. Stop insulting my intelligence. You'll find a way around here, I'm sure. It's just as teacher says, this is where I have to go. Is that so? At least we can show you that much. Come on, this is useless, vapid frippery at this point. I don't need this stuff. I don't care about what's going on right now. This is not a good sign. We join the flow of students making their way down the stairwell and outside, with the girls pointing their senior classrooms at the same time. When we get outside, the girls make their way to the smaller building to the right next to the school. It's built in the same style, so it looks like it's actually part of the main building. She's an ... This is the auxiliary building from here. There's a lot of official important stuff inside, like the Yamaku Foundation office and the nurses' offices. They even have a swimming pool. They have a swimming pool in the nurse's office. Hello, nurse. How is that official? Don't be silly, Hichan. It's for physical therapy, of course. Anyway, all the nursing staff facilities are there, too. The head nurse office is on the first floor. You'll be fine from here, right? We'll be going then. See you tomorrow. Thanks, bye. The whole building has stuff nothing to do with the actual education. I guess that's nice for blah, blah, blah. Walking in, I hope this will be a quick visit like the teacher said. I hope the nurse is really hot. We need a hot nurse right now. On white doors, lift to the green cross, the said head nurse on a nameplate to voice from the inside the response to my knock. And I can't quite make it out. It sounded like an invitation. The The room is not large and it smells strange. Friendly-looking man. Oh, man, damn it, turns around in his office chair to meet me as I enter. His desk is neat and tidy, but the bin under the table is overflowing with used medical utensils, and there's at least a dozen coffee cup rings lingering on the desk. You're not a hot woman. Go away. If I were Hiso, I'd just turn around and walk away. What, I don't get a hot nurse? Rather die. Bye. Hello there, what can I do for you today? He is young looking and sort of rugged, but the dimples in his cheeks wash that impression away when he smiles. Are you the nurse? He smiles. Whoa, good God, look at those choppers. I'm afraid for my life here. He smiles like a person who has heard this very same question hundreds of times. Why, yes, I am. It says so on the door, no? You can call me by name or just the nurse, like everyone else does. Of course, I shake off my confusion, realizing I probably should grab his extended hand. His extended hand, because he has like a telescoping arm that makes his arm shoot out up to the heavens. His handshake is rather firm and friendly. Okay, we've had 2 handshakes here. We've gotten description of both of them. This just goes to show, like, the orgasmic level of love that visual novels have for irrelevant details. My name is Hisao Nikai. His lies snaps his fingers. Oh, you're that Nikai. I was reading your file in the morning. Some kind of chronic arrhythmia related to congenital heart muscle deficiency, right? He gestures to me and sit down, make an armchair in front of his desk. Yes. Good. Well, you probably... This music is really unfitting. Why do I have saxophone jazz going on while I'm talking to my nurse about my heart defects? This... Good, well, you've probably been briefed about the school enough, so I'll just go over this quickly. We have all kinds of facilities available, mostly physical therapy and such. This should have been covered before. There's always someone, even at nights, who never hesitate to call for the problem, the famous 24-hour nursing staff. Wow, this is like a hospital. Well, not exactly. For instance, we don't do brain surgery here. This joke feels so out of place that I'm left thinking why he even said it. Yeah, that is really weird to have so many. It's really this. You'll get used to it. I'm not sure of that myself, but I don't let the nurse know it now. Just let me find your file again while he searches around for something. I let my gaze wander around the room. It's the epitome of generic, I'd like to say. Beige walls and ceiling, dark gray laminate flooring, all the equipment you'd expect from a Newell School's nursing office. I'm kind of getting to the point of writing this up as a failure. I was hoping that they had rewritten things enough to get the story, more tight, more effective, more punchy, to get me invested in things, to make me care about this story, these characters, make me care about some kind of an allegory that spoke to real life challenges and struggles, stuff that I can identify with. But no, we're just wasting our time with useless, vapid frippery, just like canon. Oh God, I hate this storytelling style so much. Somebody kill me. Even the ridiculous educational posters are hanging on all 4 walls, reminding me to eat properly 3 times a day and from all the food groups. Smiling, the nurse draws a thick file from a stack. That reminds me of something. If this story can indulge in useless, vapid frippery, then so can I. Everybody's seen the United States' FDA-approved food pyramid, right? Where it shows the snacks and sweets up on the top, and then it shows the grains down on the bottom. You got vegetables and meats in the middle, that kind of thing. I saw something at work recently that was a pyramid of physical activity. Like at the very top, you had video games, and at the very bottom, you had, like going for walks or intense physical activity, stuff like that, stuff to keep your heart up, keep your cholesterol down, burn calories, that what have you. And at the very, very tippy top of that pyramid, up at the very point where Tutankhamun sits, they had reading visual novels, one of the most sedentary activities in the world. Smiling, the nurse draws a thick file from a stack of similarly thick files and opens it. There's got to be a way to rewrite that sentence. So you're already in medication for the arrhythmia, and just remember to take your pills every morning if you won't need much help. Apart from that, do you do any sports, rash stuff like, boxing? Well, that sounds good for a guy with a congenital heart defect. Jesus Christ. He grins his own soccer occasionally with some classmates. All right, I'm afraid I'm going to have to recommend you refrain to doing that, at least for the time being. Oh, my lack of reaction makes him raise an eyebrow, but really, I'm not too bothered by him forbidding me to kick a ball around. This is a disturbing facial expression. I really wish he'd be looking some other direction right now. I guess I never did it out of burning passion for the sport, just to have something to do. Any kind of concussion might be very dangerous to your heart, and risking another attack is not a good idea. Was the previous one caused by a sudden concussion to the chest area? There is no mention of the cause in your papers, or not exactly. I was being talked to by a hot girl. Really, if you're going to have a congenital heart arrhythmic condition come up, that's the way you'd want to do it. It's by talking to a hot girl. That I can approve of. I sidestepped the question acceptable. Why? That word does not need to be there. Okay. I know I'm falling back on the drunken white axioms here, but omit needless words, omit needless words, omit needless words. Ah! He glanced over me as a paper with more of an experienced expression on this face. Still, you need to keep your body healthy. Some exercise would do you good. We have physical therapy and such available, as I said, but I don't think you really need such heavy measures. We get some light exercise, regular brisk walks, or even light jogging, jumping rope, that sort of thing. Swimming, maybe there's a pool here. So I was told, ... You were very good. At any rate, I'm sure you've been told this before. You just need to take care not to overexert yourself. He wagged his finger to emphasize the point. No need, really. I've heard this 1,000 times already. Absolutely no unnecessary risks. Take care of yourself. Okay, he goes over my papers one more time, sits them on the desk. Obviously content. Good, that's it. Do. I feel like that entire encounter could have been omitted. I mean, all that we got was a little bit of expository information there. Let's see, I'm trying to think. What's the one useful thing that was communicated in that? That the nursing staff of the school wants our main character to exercise lightly. At best, that is the only thing of use that was communicated here, and even that was just more exposition. You see what we've gotten in the story here so far. We have gotten, the only thing of any use that we've gotten is repeated exposition. There's really been no progression in any, core story development or anything. So far this is just lightness and fluff. There's really nothing of meat or substance going on here. I mean, it's not as bad as Canon. I'm not going to down-talk Canon. I actually really like that. But anyway, Canon. But yeah, you get it. You understand my complaints here. You understand my utter bafflement that people find these stories entertaining. I'm ushered out before we even realized a quick visit indeed. I end up standing in front of the main building and the auxiliary building, although to my eyes they look one and the same. Still, this is the first real look I get at other students, so I watch people coming out of the school towards the gate. Everyone seems to know where they're going as I keep saying, I don't care. I should go somewhere to prevent me from getting lost. It's around dinner time, but I feel just tired instead of hungry. The readiness in me only grows as I trudge towards the dorms. Oh God, no. This is not good. I'm afraid we might be getting to the point that I really hated when I read the preview years ago. I don't remember everything of the preview, but there was some bad stuff. There's a garden of sorts between the school and the dorm. Shrubbery, flowers, the overbearing smell of fresh air. But the tons of my tired mind, that smell leaves an arms for so long. Paintings. Are we about to meet the girl with no arms? I think we are. The dorm building is big, made of red brick. Like the others, it feels way too pompous for what it is, so I push... Oh no, we're just going into the dorms, okay. Huh. Actually got kanji on the signs. How about that? It takes more time than necessary to finish the key. Room 119. This room is fairly new, functional, and boring. Like in the main building, the halls and doors are wide to accommodate wheelchairs. The same goes for the elevators at the end of the hallways. I poke my head around the corner of the common room door. Inside, a few students are watching television. One nods and gives a quick hello before turning back to the TV. That seems that only the girls around here are sociable. I suppose that's perfectly fine with me. I climb the stairs to the upper floor. Indeed, who are you, sir? There's really nothing that we know about our main character other than that he has a heart condition and he's bland. That's it. And he plays soccer, but he didn't even really enjoy it. Now, I understand, not every main character in the world has to be strong, deep. It doesn't have to necessarily have all of these facets and character development to him, what have you. There is such a thing as a reader insert character. There is such a thing as a reader avatar. I can understand that's what they're going for here. But if so, failure, because I wouldn't be acting the way that this boring tool bag is. He's so fucking dull. This is a manor house for 4 rooms, about how the nameplate's adjacent. There are 2 of us here. Light shines from the door 117. Hello, is anyone home? From inside I hear a few movements, then the door squeaks open. Oh no, not this fucktard! Oh God. Oh, I remember bad things about this. I remember bad things about this when I read the preview. Oh, I'm not pleased. Thankfully, this segment's almost over. A respectable boy is standing in the doorway. He's looking at me very intently through his extremely thick eyeglasses. Who is it? Blind. No, at least not completely. Why would he have eyeglasses if he was? He leans closer to me until our noses are almost touching. He brings breath stinks of garlic. This has made this story thoroughly unpleasant. This character's been on the screen for all of 30 seconds. I already don't like him. He saw Nikai moving into the next room. I thought I should introduce his face suddenly burns as he stands at the back upright, thrusting his hand out, smiling. Great, almost. Oh, we have somebody who's quirky. Sup, dude? My name is Kenji. Hi. There's some suspicious-looking people going in your every room. There's probably your parents. Your parents? Oh, sure, because they could. I don't care about any of this. Is that a place proverb? I'm lost. If this were a paperback novel, I would have put it down at this point. Like, we adults have work, we have school, we have domestic maintenance to take care of, we've got responsibilities in life. I need my recreation hours to have a payoff. I need them to interest me. This is why I hate visual novel writing. It's because the authors don't respect my time. He shudders and makes some exaggerated hand gestures. You're a brave man. He's how, but I don't think I could trust the chances. Just trust myself. We're getting dangerously close to canon territory here. A wise decision. Damn, you're smarter than you look. Probably. What do you look like? I hope I'm not smart. He squints his eye, looking backwards to dodge it. Never mind. It doesn't matter. You're right. It doesn't matter. Nothing that happened in that was mattered. I didn't learn anything. There's nothing that has been developed. There's nothing that's been advanced. There's nothing that's grabbed me. Within really the first half hour, the first hour at most, any story should have a hook. It should have something that gets me invested. Nothing. This is complete, utter emptiness. All we've had is light bits of exposition. We've had the laying of a groundwork, but nothing has been built upon it. Fuck this so hard.